Welcome to another episode of In Your Business. I'm your host, Reeves Kirtner. Season 2 of In Your Business is presented by Moses Auto Mall of Huntington. Online at mosesmeansmore.com and powered by the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce and Kindred Communications. Joining me today is Holli Myers, the owner of VC Boutique, a staple of downtown Huntington for 48 years, originally known as Village Collection. Holli took over the boutique as the owner 9 years ago and has since transformed it into a fashion-forward destination known for its unique style and community involvement. In today's episode, we'll discuss the critical role the Christmas season plays in retail, the challenges and rewards of running a boutique during the holidays, and why Holli chose to recently move VC Boutique from 9th Street to 8th Street. We'll also dive into her journey, lessons learned, and the future of VC Boutique. Let's get in your business. Well, Holli, thank you for coming in. I'm excited to chat about VC Boutique. And before we were recording, I can't believe now that you've had it for how many years did you say?
It'll be 9 years in December.
9 years, right? That's unbelievable. Talk about the history of VC Boutique, Village Collection, right? Going back a few years. Talk about the history and how you got involved in it. Let's start there.
So Village Collection is originally, that's what VC stands for.
Yep.
So when I bought the business from a previous owner, Vicki Rosenberg. She opened the store, I think 1977 in April, she opened that year. And I used to go there with my grandmother and my mom and my aunts as a kid when we would visit. So it became kind of just this like cool stop. This is when Huntington was like just all kinds of shopping and a lot of things. So it was always exciting to go to Village Collection. And then as I got older, I moved away a couple times and I came back for college, end of high school, college. And I really always had a passion for boutiques specifically. I loved clothes. I feel like that's something that came natural to me. I'm a visual person. And then going in there, and then I would go in there when I went to Marshall and shop. And I think one day I just kind of inquired if they were hiring. And one of the full-time girls was leaving. And so it kind of became this like, I'm going to try this. I mean, I was in grad school. I'm not going to say my family was like, woohoo, because I was in grad school at the time. But it was something I needed to do for myself. And then it became a mentorship from there, which I think I was there at the right time. So Vicki was getting at that point in her life where she was ready to move on. And I learned so much in 8 years. I've learned even more in the 9 that I've owned it.
Right, sure.
Because it's always different when it's officially in your hands. That's a big lesson.
So I had no idea that it had been there since 1976. Was it always on? Because I know you've recently moved, and we'll talk about that. But was it always on 4th Avenue and 9th Street?
Always been on 4th Avenue. It was actually originally where Jockey Club is now.
Okay.
So it used to be in the Frederick building.
Okay.
For 20 years, and then I think the last 28 years or so that she owned it was in the space in the West Virginia building.
So in your, how many years for you total? 17 years?
With her, and it'll be almost 17 in December, yes.
So,
gosh, saying it out loud.
Yeah. How has Village Collection, VC Boutique, how has it evolved over the years? In your 17 years of just being there in one shape or form or fashion?
I think the biggest is just how people shop.
Okay.
I think, when I first started, there was a lot of foot traffic. It was a very more walk-in customer, a lot more customers coming in the store, being able to wait on them directly, calling when new things arrive. Now it's a very e-commerce world. So I would say in the last 8 years specifically, it's changed the most and now I say we're in a post-COVID world. So shopping is also very different in that way. So, and social media. So none of this was when I started.
That's right.
Any of that. I started our first Facebook page with the store, and it just makes me laugh, all the things that we would do. And it's evolved so much from that. So I think honestly, of course, trends change, but the biggest change I've seen is people just shop differently these days, and that's been a big learning curve.
How have you all kept up with e-commerce then?
I think a big part is finding the right way to market your money, and hiring an ad agency was kind of that best option. I think a lot of businesses make the mistake of investing in social media posting, specifically. Waste of money. I shouldn't say that, but I think it's is not as effective, because what you can do is you have employees and they can help build content. So the content part's easy. You just need, if you can make all the content in the world, but if no one sees it, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
So you have to market it, and that's probably been the biggest thing I've learned is in order to grow e-commerce, we have to be visible. And so that's been, I think, my greatest change in the last few years is realizing, oh no, like we've got to change how we do this, because people aren't leaving their houses. They work from home now. It's just a different, I have regulars that I can reach out to, and I do that, but that's the way I get them in. You know?
Sure.
So I think that's really the big thing is spend your money in marketing.
So you've got an online store, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, we have online, social media live sales.
What percentage of your sales are in the store versus now online?
This is a hard number because I do lives too, so I don't know if we consider those in-store or website. I'm going to consider that online.
Yeah, I am too. You're using the internet to sell your product.
Yes, so I would say at least 80% of my sales are direct marketing, social marketing, and live sales. So I would say 20% are just random walk-ins.
Only 20% are on, really?
In-store.
Really?
The rest is all like me doing.
And then the other 10%, those are the ones that I saw it online. I saw a live sale that came in.
They're staying at the hotel down the street. They're visiting town. They have students that go to Marshall, or new Marshall students that come in.
Yeah.
So it's either new customers, people are new to the town. Yeah.
So
it's a lot of hustle.
So why the heck? So why the heck why'd you move locations then? If let's talk about that. Why'd you do that? You just need a closet based on what you're telling me, because nobody.
I think you could ask every boutique and just in general. I would say not even just Huntington. In general, you would be like, paying rent is. It's a rough thing because you realize maybe I should just be a warehouse, or like what are we doing?
I'm asking. I mean, seriously.
This is stuff we've really. You got to think we're 4 years post-COVID. And
that's right.
I would say, if anything, the last 2 years has been the biggest effect, because I think during COVID we were all kind of in this together. So it was this process of people were hyper aware,
right? And
now we're all kind of like back and busy, and I think people are. Their habits have changed too. So, and I'm one of those. I get it.
What?
I order my groceries now.
Right. Yeah.
I used to love to grocery shop, but it's like it made me not like it anymore.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, convenience matters. I mean, it's I will pay for that convenience. But yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, seriously, what was behind the decision going from 3rd and 9th to 4th and 8th, I guess, right?
I think we were struggling on 9th Street with visibility. It was just a little bit darker in the space. As far, I don't own these spaces, so as far as doing any updates or, kind of upgrading the space, that was just really not an option unless I was out of it to do that, and I wasn't going to put it in it. And this space, happened to be just kind of a blank slate, and they were, kind of they were remodeling it anyway, so it was kind of coming into something with very rent that I felt like was comparable.
Okay.
Definitely, Phil is a great landlord, Phil Nelson, and he believes in a lot of small businesses, so we are grateful for him. And, they really felt our vision. I felt like it was a great kind of corner that people drive by a lot, and the windows are super visible.
That's right. Yep.
But again, I love the space.
Yeah.
I do.
Can
but
you
it's
tell?
Still this question of
No
difference.
You can't tell a difference.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And now I think people love the new space, and I love the new space, and it is a new energy. But foot traffic's the same. And
I got it.
And I think I don't
How
know.
long you been
I don't
there
know
now?
if you hear this.
How long have you been there now?
It was 2 years.
Okay.
Yesterday,
so you've been there for one Christmas
yeah.
season already.
Yes.
Okay.
And listen, our first 3 months there were amazing. And I think it was kind of the new space, new energy. But I do think downtown's kind of got in a bad rap. So I think people's level of comfort can be interesting. I work down there every day, so I have a little bit different of an opinion as a business owner, because I don't want to put myself in an unsafe situation either. I just don't feel that way.
I don't either.
I feel like
don't get me started on all that.
I love this city, and
I do too.
I know a lot of these business owners, and I know that how hard we all work and how we're constantly kind of ebb and flowing, trying to figure out what's next, what's not working, what's working, how can we, this is a everyday grind or thought that we all go through. And I think seeing that just kind of puts a damper on all this hard work that we're all trying to do.
When you moved, again, a couple blocks, did you go, hey, if I want to do this, I want to go somewhere with the parking lot? Was that...
Okay, there you go. That's the parking lot and the parking.
Now you kind of do have a parking lot.
We do. We have, and like...
Right across the street there?
Absolutely. We also have like family court upstairs. So there's a lot of parking, I would say, that is taken up through the cab, just people going
absolutely.
in and out of that.
That's right.
And the market and whatnot.
Yep.
But I do think the parking's much better than when we were on 9th Street. So I say parking's gotten easier for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful building. It's a beautiful space. We have been doing some events which do well. We actually are going to do our annual fashion show.
Okay.
It's October 24th. Shout out.
Yes, yeah.
It's all proceeds go to the Golden Girl Group Home, so it's for a good cause. But that's really a way for me to get people to see my space more that haven't been to it. So we're doing it right out front on 8th Street and 4th Avenue, just right there.
Outside?
Outside.
Cool.
And just kind of give people an idea of like that kind of night out and also shopping downtown and just show the bright side, of Huntington.
Yeah. And this was we're going to talk about Christmas is where I want to get to, but we're going to talk about Christmas, but no, I'm just curious too, and I like asking these questions and learning just about the climate, the business. I mean, you've been in Huntington now, working there like almost 17 years, been an owner for 9, right? How do you think the climate is, the retail is? It seems healthier to me. You all have been there forever, and then now, and I mean that in a great way. And then now it's like True Soul has come in, and Bo Love. Help me out. If I butcher any of these names, but like
we've got the Hip Eagle, Pretty and Poised.
Yeah. So and I say that like, okay, if seeing
Main.
these, yes,
I can't forget.
No, because that's why I was hesitant to say some names. It's like I hope I'm not saying these wrong, but that's a good sign if you've got these great little independent boutiques popping up. Things must be healthy.
I think
you want to be doing
number
it.
one, I love all of these people that own these businesses. I'm a big advocate of like, we all can succeed. We're better together. That's a big kind of mantra in my life as far as owning a business, because I really do think the more options people have, the more likely they're to come down. So it's helpful for all of us. We all have something different to offer. And it just gives our city more options. And Marshall's growing a lot, which is huge for us. So I think that's helpful and silly not to accommodate even not just students, but also professionals that work there, grad students, professors, etc. So I feel like there's just, the more options people have, the more people will start to have Huntington as like a shopping destination. Sure. And even from Charleston to Hurricane, Point, like all these areas I can kind of drive here for a day and have fun and have a nice dinner or lunch and shop. And so I think it's great. And I will say for the first time in a while, it feels super hopeful because I do think there's like this transition of a local support that's going on. I know I've done this long enough to watch really great years and really bad years happen within one of each other.
That's right.
It's a constant learning lesson, and I that would be my best advice to any business owner is you just be ready and like don't resist. Just see what you can fix and change and how you can be better. But So I agree. I think there's definitely a shift forward. I think we all are finding creative ways to sell. So I will say I do think a lot of the ones we named are also selling a lot on lives or a lot online. And they've put a lot of effort in that because we talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
And I think we're all kind of in that boat where we realize, we need to market everywhere, not just to this area.
Have you all done any collabs together in any ways?
Yes. I've done pop-ups with True Soul a few times years ago, and you might remember this. There was also a time, businesses really struggled even pre-COVID. I think it was kind of 2018 where some stuff happened in Huntington, and it just kind of was eerily slow. And we created this thing called Boutiques on the Avenue, and it was like Old Main, Bo Love, myself, Runway when Runway was still downtown, and it was just and Kensington Alley when they were here, and it was all this we kind of had this support group because
Right.
it was stressful, and we were all like, and that's where we really started doing live sales, was because Missy at Bolove really encouraged us to do that, which has been enormous for me. And I will say that was something I was very hesitant about. And just not sure, like, is that my product? Is that my customer? And I felt like that was me holding myself back.
Yeah.
Because now, a post-COVID world, it's lives are everything.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm really grateful for that. But it's been a lot of learning curves as far as just all of us trying to get creative.
Yeah. I think, too, going back to 2018 versus 2024, maybe my feeling is that we understand how important supporting local businesses is. And I don't think we understood it as much in 2018.
Yeah.
I think COVID happened and it was like, all right, if we want our communities, be it Huntington, Hurricane, Milton, Wayne, whatever, if we got to support ourselves. And I think that changed in 2020 with COVID. I really do.
I really do too. And that's why I say, like, I want to be like, when I say I'm marketing my business, I'm marketing it as a small business. So, the videos we use for these are all very kind of homemade. Like, it's just someone videoing themselves talking about their outfit, or
Sure.
it's this generic thing where, we want you to feel like we're that, it's more casual, where you can ask us anything. We're going to tell you everything about how it fits before you buy it.
Sure.
So I think it allows, my big thing is just developing relationships. So these people trust you.
Yeah.
You're consistent. And, you give product that is of quality.
That's right.
And so, like, something they can wear a lot and use a lot and not maybe just throw away.
Are you all a POTA business?
We are.
How's that been?
I mean, I don't know if people think of me for Boda.
No, but you're a place that I can take my beverage
so,
into.
we do have events and we'll serve, but we've done that before. So we'll give you a Poda cup if you would like one to take it with you. That's just something we might offer for an event. But we're definitely, hey, go have a drink at SIP and come see us and shop. Please.
See, I think it'd be cool. Like, I think it's Wednesday. This Wednesday. Today's Monday. September 30th, just for reference, because this will come out in a couple weeks. But Wednesday, Huntington CVB is coming in to do an episode with us, and I think it'd be cool. Like, the CVB put out like a downtown Huntington shopping trail campaign, right? Like, here's a little map. It's on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. Go from A, B, C, D, and you can stop for a drink or lunch at 1, 2, 3, right? Go to Summit, go to SIP, and stop by, all these kind of places. But I think, like, going back to POTA, I think there's been an opportunity there that the city of Huntington, the CVB, they need to do they need to market it and educate it too. Like,
Thank you.
We do 9th Street Live, and 9th Street Live is it's a POTA event. You have to have a POTA cup.
Yes.
And you have no idea how many freaking people. I'm like, boys and girls, that is an open container.
It's an easy roll.
It's so easy. But they don't, and I'm not mean to them. I'm not the security. I'm not a police officer.
Exactly.
But I just say, hey, that's an open container. You got to have one of these cups, and I show them the POTA cup, and
they're like, okay.
But exactly, okay. I'll never forget. Listen, true story. I told it to somebody. I was like, hey, it was the next week. It was the band that we had next week. It was like their girlfriends and wives, and I go, hey, you got to have a POTA cup. That's she goes, what do you work here or something? And the guy, it was the band. He goes, yes, he booked us next week. Now go get one of those cups.
He did that.
Yes, he really does work here.
That's so funny.
Like I said, I'm not rude about it, but I'm just like, hey, there are police officers and they're going to talk to you about it. But again, I'll go back to it, education, right? Education and promote it.
I want to touch on that. Mackenzie, when she owned Kensington Alley, like, that's something we talked about, and she was kind of in that process of, like, just having kind of in a map of something with
I know.
shopping points. Like, we have so many great hotels that are booked all the time.
That's right.
And I even wanted, like, I've talked to some of them about creating something they could put on their page, and I think they have a desire for that, because they say when people book, they look at things to do all the time.
Of course.
So yes, that's something I think it's very important and really think should happen.
Yeah. We've been talking for 20 minutes now. We want to talk about Christmas. Let's talk about you. Before we started recording, you said, like, this is our good time of year, just one transitioning into fall, and then obviously Christmas is right around the corner too. I guess go ahead and say, how important is Christmas season? What does it represent for your all's business for the year?
I always consider Christmas a time really to get some new customers.
Okay.
I will say my regulars are very seasonal shoppers. So they'll shop like heavy spring, like we'll say March and April. Heavy fall would be September, October.
Okay.
So they tend to be very seasonal. And then if something special comes in, so I really get to see a lot of new people in my store during the holidays. We tend to stock things that are more gift appropriate, good price points, but also things for parties that are coming up. You know, people do a lot of different things now. They don't just do, formal parties. There's, funny, like Christmas sweater parties and different things that people can. So just having silly jewelry or just being conscious of like things that people are celebrating around that time.
Yeah.
And then things that are easy to buy. It's hard to buy specific clothing items. Like a sweater is a great gift, but jeans would be a bit harder to purchase for someone. Having nice handbags, just being a little more conscious of what we stock during that time of year. But it's always a great time of year.
So you say like that, and I've never thought that before, that it's a good place to get new customers, right? Because they're looking. So what do you do if you get a new customer in there? What can you do? What do you do to try to keep them? What do you try to do to get them to come back in the springtime, come back next fall?
Yeah, so we do a loyalty program right now that we collect just your phone number. You'll get a text. People really love them. They're very effective. I don't do it often, so it's not like an annoying thing.
Sure.
And they're not free, so
okay. Yep.
So I try to do it at least twice a month. So it's nothing crazy, but you might get something off or percentage, but you also earn points during that time that you can use as rewards as well. So that's a good incentive because it's a good way to collect information, but also offer them an incentive. And, we do gift wrapping. I say customer service. Like I said, I can offer them a lot, but if they don't really like me, then it's not going to, you have to have that kind of trust with someone. And that's how I feel like that's my success, the side of how I succeed.
Sure. I love CF Rush Lines, and I know that they're gonna gift wrap my present, and like
I love gift wrap.
Yes, and it's really really professional. But little things like that, little things like that go a long way. They really do.
I'll tell you, women like to wrap themselves, but I mainly buy a gift wrap for the men who buy presents because they appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and
that's it's worth it for me, and it's something that it takes a little pressure off of them, and and that's the good thing. I will say a lot of the men that come in, like if they show us a photo, or I might know the customer and they're shopping for a regular, then that makes it really easy because that's something I am good at. I'm good about seeing something and being like, okay, I feel like this is her comfort level, and maybe what size and whatnot.
Yep. When do you start getting ready for the holiday season? So like I said,
definitely now.
Yes. August, September?
I do a lot of pre-ordering, but we'll order in the moment too. If things are moving well, we'll probably try to restock them. I'll get an idea of what's moving and try to keep that on my radar.
Yeah. How does that work?
But a lot of our brands don't overcut a bunch, so I have to kind of pre-order ahead, which is also nice, but you can't ever judge how the season's going to go, so that can be a little intimidating as well. But right now we're just trying to plan maybe some events we'll have in the store. Also, if we want to have a men's list, so we contact certain people, just different ideas as far as what we can do. That's probably what we're doing right now, but a lot of things have been ordered already, although I will order in the moment.
Got it. When you say in the moment, we need more sweaters, we need more bags.
I can do probably accessories that way the most.
Yeah.
And then if it's a bestseller for the company, they probably overcut it as well. So I might be able to just see okay, people are really liking these, I need to get more of this if I can.
Yeah.
So it'd be more that, or sometimes brands will do rekcuts of things that did so well, so that's an opportunity for me to be I want that again.
Yep.
That's a learning phase for sure.
What about how do you keep up with what's the trend right now, and how do you keep up with it?
Fall, the fun thing about fall is it's a lot of transition to layering. Boho is really big right now, so layers and comfort and long dresses and skirts and all of sweaters. So I think just
But that's always been there.
Okay.
Right. But
yes.
Isn't there a trend this year? Is there something what are women wearing now?
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's what I meant. Yes, we've always worn sweaters and so. Is it oversized? Not oversized, but
I'll say it's actually gotten a bit girlier. So there's a lot of bows, more mini skirts.
Okay.
There's some oversized as far as jackets might be oversized as far and outerwear.
Yeah.
Oversized sweatshirts, of course. People kind of love that casual look. It's hilarious. But a lot of skirts, so midi skirts, high boots, knee-high boots are really big.
Okay.
But I would say I like to categorize this year as a very Ralph Lauren kind of style. So it's actually a lot more preppy than usual.
Okay.
A little more girlier, kind of Western, equestrian. I don't know.
Okay.
So those are really big right
So
now.
how do you know that, and how do you keep up? How do you keep with all that stuff?
So it's so funny because when I buy for a season, we buy about 6 months ahead of time. We go to fashion markets.
Okay. Where do you go?
I do New York, Atlanta. Those are the 2 ones I've done so far. I'm going to try Dallas next, but those are my primaries for years. And so we tend to see trends, but it's so funny because Fashion Week also tends to happen about 2 weeks prior to that season. So we really don't see it. Like, we see a little bit, but we're not. So I can see some nods of like what runways are doing, but it's a lot of what my brands are doing.
Yeah.
And so I'll see some nods of it through maybe some of my lower end brands because they'll make things a little quicker to hit those trends, like fringy things that are big right now. But it's a lot of what I see, and then I can get an idea of like what a lot of brands are showing. Like, this is obviously a trend. What colorways? Like, those just happen to change. So market would be my way for sure.
So do the designers set the trends, or do the consumers set the trends? How does that work?
I'm not a fast fashion store, so I would say yes, fast fashion is driven by what's popular right now. So say TikTok's like, we're all mob wives, so fur jackets are everywhere.
Okay.
That's a very immediate thing. I tend to order ahead of that, and I also don't consider those trends. I consider those things, like you said, everyone has, or a lot of people already have like faux fur jackets, or these, maybe they're back again, or they're a trend, but these are things I think collectively over years are always in.
Yeah.
So I definitely am not, it's not in the moment, it's just kind of more classic and more like closet staples and yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So again, going back to kind of holidays, and you said this is an opportunity to get new customers. What do you do to attract some of those new customers? What do you mentioned events a couple of times, but any other ways to, hey, we're here, we're open, come try us out?
That's social media.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just doing reels, photo shoots, constantly posting try-ons of you in the outfits. Just a lot of like content creation is what we put a lot of time into. I will say that's by far my most effective medium. So we put a lot into that. And then otherwise, when we get new drops, that'd be more of a direct, like I do like to text people directly when we get new drops in. So I have a lot of great regulars, and that's a relationship I prefer to keep with myself. So I text them myself.
This is this is you texting, not a text app or nothing like that, right?
No, just me. Yep. Pictures, and I'm very curated when I text someone, so I don't necessarily send them everything we get, and I won't send them every order we get.
Yep.
It's only if I think you'll like it. I'm not looking for I want them to actually need it, want it, and love it.
Yeah. So let's kind of move into some of the misconceptions and challenges. What are the biggest challenges of running an independent boutique?
I mean, I think every business struggles with staffing. Right now, I have a great staff, so yay, but I always need more. I think that's a learning curve as far as delegating and learning where you should put your time. So that's something you learn, but that's a tough one.
How many employees do you have?
5,
okay.
So there's just 6 of us total. And then, I say this, like, you have to love it because it's hard. It's never going to be easy, and there's going to be times where it feels like the whole bottom's going to fall out and that you don't really know how to get back up. But that's, I think, the point, because it makes you really appreciate the perks, and it also makes you appreciate when it's great. But you just have to be ready for the ride, and I think a lot of people just don't love what they commit to enough. Right. And I think if you go into it to succeed, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you do it because you love it and then you succeed, then I would say you're doing it for the right reason.
What are some of when you talk to friends, family, customers, are there any misconceptions that people think about your business?
Absolutely. Everyone thinks I'm rich, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
My husband wishes I was rich.
Sure.
He would greatly appreciate that. But I'm a dreamer.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So, people assume I make a lot of money. I took a big bank loan out from SBA loan to get this business, because Vicki earned it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I had to buy it from her. And I hope I also can do that one day. But I think that's probably a misconception, is thinking you're going to make a lot of money, so you better love it again.
Yeah.
Now, I do think there's good and great things to it. I also have perks as far as clothing goes, or just relationships and getting to go to market and different things.
That's right.
So I'm not going to say I don't get anything out of the deal, but just it's not going to, I think you have to realize there's going to be great years and bad years, and you got to kind of measure that out as far as how you get to, take care of yourself. So you're kind of bottom on that list. But I also think it's just being willing to accept change as well.
What about challenges regarding the holiday season?
The biggest challenge is obviously the Amazons of the world. I, too, understand the 2-day Prime is amazing. I use it on the regular. The good part is they can't always ship that fast. So closer to Christmas, we really do well.
Yeah, those last minute husband.
Yes. So I say, I will say I love Black Friday and Shop Small Saturday here. It's like one of my favorites because it's the busiest the store is all year lately, these last few years. Mm-hmm. So I just love seeing so many people in, which is great. And then the holidays in general, I think, make that fun.
Right.
Because you just see more people. That's exciting. Like you said, because we have this great space and we want people, although you can happily come pick up your bag or we'll ship it too.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll do whatever.
Were you a part of the candy cane trail that the chamber did last year?
Yes.
I thought that was great. I really did. I don't know. I can't remember what their numbers were, but I thought that was a great little program that they did, and it was fun, right? You walked into the business, you checked in on an app, and then if you got so many points, you got an ornament, a coffee mug, and that kind of stuff. I thought it was cool. I thought that was really, really neat.
I really appreciate that the chamber is putting effort into small business.
That's
so
right.
Much lately, I gave
it's all business. It's small and
not just all business. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just the city.
Yeah. All business matters. Look at me.
All business matters.
but no, but you could definitely tell, and again, I think the strength of Huntington. It's these small businesses are so freaking important, and they're the backbone of our communities. They really are, and they are little.
Yeah, and I will say when you support a small business and people say you do a happy dance, you really do. It really is you're supporting someone's family and you're supporting their employees and their families, and it's not taken for granted.
No.
It's very much appreciated, and I care about my customers very much.
So 9 years as owner, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned since becoming an owner? You worked there, so you kind of saw how the store ran.
I think the biggest part from going from manager to owner was the financial side of things, not my strength.
Okay.
I think I had to learn some tough lessons that way. And also just learning, we've had so many different websites, seeing where my money's spent best. I've wasted a lot of money too. But, you have to allow yourself space to mess up because that's how you figure out how to do it right.
That's right.
And I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of failure. So.
You didn't mess. If you learned something, exactly. Yeah, you didn't. If you learned something you took away from it, okay.
Yeah.
Don't do it twice.
I didn't sit back and just say, it'll figure itself out. I had to figure it out.
That's right.
And so I guess my best advice, or the best things I've learned is just that learning my strengths and weaknesses, delegating better, being a better manager, being a better owner versus just trying to fill all the places and expecting little from my staff. I think that's really changed, which is great, and allowing myself a work-life balance.
Right. 48 years now that you say, right? 48 years, 1976. That is great. How has Village Collection VC Boutique? How do you think it's been around for 48 years? That's insane.
When it first opened, Huntington was the place to be downtown as far as shopping, and so it was super successful. But Vicki really had a niche as far as offering things that were special, unique, and of quality. So she really got quite a good customer base. And Vicki was the opposite of me. She was very financially on top of things, but she had a harder time with she wasn't as much as a people person as I am. So we had a different, so I feel like we balanced each other well in that way. And I just learned, it's just hard. When Vicki started this store, she was also a female owning a business in the 70s, and that was not, it's funny to think, but when she first did her first buying trip ever, some people wouldn't even wait on her because she was a woman, and which is crazy because I think now, and all our clothing boutiques are owned by women downtown as far as for women's clothing.
That's right.
And they all buy women's clothing, but it's just the business has changed so much as far as just being a woman owning a business, and now so many businesses in Huntington are owned by women. So it's nice to see that kind of transition. And I feel like, but we've also had to learn how to sell differently and how to reach a larger audience.
Yeah.
So,
but going back to her in 76, though, I mean, what year did the mall open up? 84, 86?
86.
Okay.
So I was
somewhere around there.
So she offered charge accounts up until the day I bought it. So I do think that helped, because here she had these people that almost had, like, in a sense, like a Macy's card or something.
She had a Village card.
Yes. So I think that kept some loyalty there, because the mall took away a lot.
Absolutely, it did.
From Huntington.
Oh, so you're like, 70s Huntington was happening, but 80s, I don't think it was, right?
No.
That's when we started making our mistakes.
I will say credit cards kind of came out around this time.
Yeah.
So also you got to think of that time when people first started getting credit cards, or they could charge it on the store, and so I think it became this convenience. And up until, I would say, late 90s, she did really, really well.
Yeah.
Very successful, like, awesome. But then, then it was like 9/11, and then it was the recession, and then so I started 2008. So I started right when all of that was going on.
That's hard of it.
So I've seen a lot of what happened next.
Yeah.
I've just gotten to hear about the other.
Yeah, I know.
But I kind of was in that space, so it's just been a huge change as far as just how people do business.
Yeah.
In general.
I'm just saying. I'm just thinking, like, again, how many times Huntington has changed over the last 48 years.
Yeah.
And for something like survive 50 years as we're closing in on, that's amazing. It really is. We're up there now with, gyms, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Kindred's been here for 32 years, but not 48, not 50. That's pretty,
I don't even claim those years because I didn't earn them.
But
I wish, like, when I do anniversaries, I'm like, do I do 9th or 48?
You do both. Who cares? Do them both.
I should celebrate for Vicky. She'd appreciate it.
I would 100% do one in 2 years.
You're right, because 48 years matter. Gosh, what a legacy.
It is. That's awesome. It really is. I mean, she did a great job, and then obviously now in your 9 years, you're doing a great job too. I don't know, I'm sure maybe you do know. I mean, I don't know what the average lifespan of a retail boutique is. It ain't 48 years. And it's not 9 years.
I'll tell you that.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You're making me feel better.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah. You're right. It's hard. And I think, like I said, it's like riding through that up and down. And I get why people get burnout. Burnout is real, and I get it.
Yeah.
But
why do you not get burnout?
Maybe it's that I'm a Taurus and I'm just super stubborn and I refuse to give up. That's just innately in me. Like, I've always said this. I think I had someone say this to me when I bought the store, which is just little things that drive you. It was like, what is she going to do when you buy the store and run it into the ground? Like, I remember someone saying that to me. A good friend, actually.
Great friend.
And I was like, And I said, well, I'll tell you this. It won't be because I didn't try hard enough. And that's just kind of my thing. Like, I'm not saying it's never been really hard, because I had to learn a lot of hard lessons. But I found a solution, I worked it out, and I moved forward.
And that's our episode. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, share, and even leave us a 5-star review. Season 2 of In Your Business is presented by Moses Auto Mall of Huntington. Online at mosesmeansmore.com. And powered by the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce and Kindred Communications.